This is our final installment on pleasure and pain. And I wanted to bring forward a particular aspect of pleasure and pain. I want to talk about the pain that we cause ourselves by holding on to our anger, to our grudges, and our grievances. How sometimes we like holding on to our anger and we want to see someone suffer just a little, not a lot, but a little. Like when you've had a fight with your partner or a sibling and you're mad and you want to stay mad for a little while. You don't want to just let them off the hook so easily. Or somebody hurts you and you don't want to just let them out of the penalty box. You don't want to see someone from another light. So we kind of get stuck in our way. And we like feeling that sometimes. We're not ready to let go. We're not. And that anger is like rocket fuel for the system. Rocket fuel. With rocket fuel surging through the system, it certainly brings a certain amount of vitality, a certain amount of vigor, and it's definitely unpredictable, right? You can get a little wild in there, a little wild, a little unwieldy, but it feels a little powerful. And so even though it burns, it brings this sort of undeniable brightness to the system. And we can feel that. There's a certain kind of clarity and sharpness that comes when we're upset, a certain kind of purpose with our anger. And that felt experience of power and aliveness is real. It's real. It's good. It's strangely good. It's strangely good and in an unpleasant kind of a way. I find that to be a little confusing. So we're feeling this mix of pleasure and pain when we hold on to our positions, to our grudges, to our rightness, to our feelings. Anytime that's going on, it's stressful. And we want to learn how to hold that stress kindly because everything has a right to be there, everything. But it's hard to see and feel both the truth of pleasure and pain, and harder still to love it into the fold of mindfulness. Even though everything, those rogue feelings, the renegade, the recalcitrant, traumatic feelings, all deserve to be seen and loved into loving arms that can hold it, or that are willing to learn how to hold that rattle. This is what mindfulness is in training, actually. And no, it isn't easy, not easy to see and feel this unwieldy energy, this surge of energy in real time as the words come tumbling out and our actions are speedy and quick, right? In the heat of the moment, what can we say and do to our brother, sister, mother, child, friend, partner, customer service representative, right? It's the Wild West. It's not easy or pleasant to really own our anger and actually figure out how to deal with it. I'm going to tell you, my first experience of this, really understanding the unwieldiness of it and the power, was when I was 10 years old. Not kidding you. It was the night before we were going on this annual summer vacation trip. We go camping every year, 2 weeks of camping. And I went with my father to go fill up the gas tank of our car. And so on our way to get the gas tank filled, my father sees these 2 dune buggies driving in the other direction. He's like, oh, they're trouble. They're dangerous. And sure enough, on the way home, as we are rising up on the top of this hill, coming down from that hill are the 2 go-karts racing each other. No kidding. And my father sees them. He swerves off the road. We run onto the grass over a mailbox, and my father is completely knocked out. Blood coming out of his head. I don't know what's going on. I'm 10 years old, freaked out, run out of the car, go to the neighbor, have them call 911. And then me, 10 years old, I go running out of that house and I'm looking for those 2 kids, 16-year-old kids driving the go-karts. I have this will and this anger and this energy like, you just hurt my father. And here I am 10 with this feeling that I'm going to go take on 16-year-olds. And it strangely felt powerful and good and unsafe all at the same time. And I was freaked out. It was very confusing to feel such a mix of feelings, right? Pleasure and pain come colliding together. And so you're holding back the wild horses, learning how to hold back the wild horses in real time, never having experienced that before. Not proud of that story, actually. Not proud that that's what rose to the surface. Actually, really feelings of wanting to hurt them. But it was such, and it has been such a helpful reminder all these years later of the potential harm that lives in all of us, that lies dormant, and something triggers us and it's activated. The trick is, how quickly can we notice that, feel it, and then kindly and wisely respond, like refraining from going after 16-year-olds when you're a 10-year-old kid, right? You know, what would a wise elder say? How would I move in the direction of staying safe? Right? That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to learn how to do. But the only way we learn how to do that is in real time. The repetition of falling in the hole, as Bill likes to say, we fall in the hole, and there it is again. How do we work with that in real time? And recognizing that it's not going to stop on a dime. It isn't. It's the repetition. I'm going to fall in the hole again. I'm going to repeat the practice. I'm going to try to restabilize, recognize that it's all tumbling forward very fast when I'm angry. Try to slow it down. Easy does it, patience. So here's the encouragement. In real time, check in. Check in frequently to how you're feeling, getting the pulse inside as you're moving about your day. How's it going in there? What are you really feeling? What do you need to be more comfortable, right? What do you need to not feed the fire, to not tighten around the tension? This is a practice, that inviting that line of questioning. What is needed now to not feed the fire? Every time we allow the fires to cool, that is a pleasure for the body, for the heart, and for the mind. I assure you, it's like a drink of cool water. We want to feel that relief and feel the pleasure of that. Okay? But then there are the situations where we can't forgive. And I want to call our attention to that. There are times when the crime is too heinous, when the pain is too much, when the violations and the trespasses have been too deep, too many, too frequent, and simply enough. Or there is recognition that the other person, they can't see, they don't care, they're not aware of the harm that they're causing. That's dangerous. Or there's an unwillingness or an incapacity to take responsibility or to do the actions that are necessary to repair and restore good relations. Well, what do we do with the pain around that? Because that feels actually rather necessary for our well-being, to not just yield and give in. I have a brother that I haven't spoken to since I was 22 years old. It took me years to get comfortable with the idea that I will likely not ever speak to him again. He's not safe. Really, he's not safe. That's the hard truth. And there's lots of conflicting and uncomfortable feelings that come with that I've had to work with over the years as they've ebbed and flowed. I wish it were different, but it's wise and it's kind. I have found it to be kind to keep myself safe, to keep him from doing any more harm. That's actually a loving act. Loving from a safe distance is wise and kind. Who are the people that are unsafe for you to be around? Loving from a distance is wise and kind. And doing so has allowed me over time, and many times, of being able to come in contact with the anger that I really have felt for my brother, and the fear and the guilt and the pain and the righteousness of Susan at 22 having to untether from her family of origin because it wasn't safe. Right? Sometimes we have to learn to love from a distance and recognize that though somebody may be a part of common humanity, they aren't safe to be near. And sometimes we're really not ready to forgive, and we're not able to forgive, and we may never be ready to forgive. But we can learn to hold those feelings kindly, with kind eyes, the kind eyes of a wise elder, can we check in and see how we're really feeling, what we really are carrying in our hearts? And what is needed to hold that a little bit more kindly? To hold the grip that will not release because it's not safe to release and the activation is so clear. Hold it kindly. Desmond Tutu and his daughter Pao Tutu wrote a forgiveness poem entitled "The Prayer Before the Prayer," for such cases when forgiveness is not yet possible. And I want to close with just a small excerpt from that poem, because I think it's so relevant for all of us. So settle back and just receive this. I want to be willing to let go, to forgive, but I dare not ask for the will to forgive in case you grant it to me, and I am not yet ready. I am not yet ready for my heart to soften. I am not yet ready to be vulnerable again. Not yet ready to see that there is humanity in my tormentor's eyes, or that the one who hurt me may have also cried. I'm not yet ready for that journey. I am not yet interested in that path. I am at the prayer before the prayer of forgiveness. Grant me the will that I want to forgive. Grant it to me, not yet, but soon. Not yet, but soon. What that says to me is let's honor ourselves and let's meet ourselves where we are. Let's not push or rush anything, but let's learn how to hold the wild horses kindly. Let's check in and feel them and be responsive. We can do that, and that's for our welfare.